Hello, everybody, and welcome to our next vote for the 2025 Lamley Awards. Hot Wheels, the best Hot Wheels licensed new model in 2025. That is the poll for today. I've got everything that I've opened so far in 2025, and then I have everything that we still need to open. Watch the video. We'll go through all of the castings. I'll show the colors as they have been released. We're mainly focused on castings. Then go to the link below and head over and vote on your top three new models, licensed new models of 2025. And then, of course, as the votes accumulate, we'll know which one was voted the best. So vote and vote and vote and vote and vote. These are really fun. The Hot Wheels team does watch these. It gives them a little bragging rights, but it is really fun to do. And there's some great models to choose from. And ultimately, I have no idea, like Super Treasure Hunt, I have no idea which one is going to take it. We will do premium new model here soon, but right now we're focused on the basic new model. And a couple caveats, of course. No motorcycles in here and no unlicensed models in here. That's okay. We stay focused on the licensed stuff, and we are going to show you the entire collection of new models. I have over to the side over here Orange Track Diecast's website, because he does a very cool checklist, so I can make sure everything is represented. And we're going to try and go in order of release. I have it a little bit mixed up. I think actually do it this way, but let's get right to it. Let's start. We're going to go through, we're going to start with what happened in the A case all the way through the Q case. That's 15 mixes. And you watch this, and then we will vote. We will start with the Morgan Super 3, the three-wheel car. I actually think this is the recolor. So the original, and I have to just go through here. I don't even think I have these organized. We're just going to find these and open these things up. There they are. I'm going to make a mess, but that's the point here. There's your first one. There's your second one. And here is the recolor. And we're going to, or there was actually a Kroger exclusive. So there's that one. Let's go ahead and I'll represent all of them here as we open them up. I'm going to have to throw these cards behind me here in the studio. I mean, you get a chance, I guess, to see the card. Maybe I can show it as we go. I don't think everything will be represented because I've opened a lot of things, but that's the Morgan Super 3, very British. There is the Kroger exclusive. We'll put that right here in order. I'll go ahead and put since we're really judging the casting, if you want to incorporate in your vote the deco, that's totally fine. But we're really getting more of an idea of these castings that were released. Morgan Super 3. There it is on the turntable. We'll just use the first color as the representation here, or one color at least. Obviously, it's a British car. It's done by Morgan, of course. Designed by Craig Callum, I think. I'm not going to know all the designers here, but ultimately, this one is very cool. It's three-wheel car. They obviously put one in the middle. They have to put that in the... is that a metal chassis on this? Maybe it is. Anyway, because there's no window piece, I'm sure they can do that, give it a little bit of weight. So 3 colors of that one. That was the first release. Next one, and then again, we're talking about the licensed one. The B case had 3, so don't have to open any of these up, but this was the Legends winner, I believe, of the year before. This is the Mazda MX-5 Miata. So we have seen the Miata before. It's been done before, but not done in this way. Obviously, this one is heavily altered for Legends, or, by whoever designed it for Legends. It's the 4-spoke wheels done by this. We had it in gray, I think, which is the replica of the actual model, and then recolored in green. Maybe you like that modified Miata. I'm trying to picture what the car looked like. Obviously, it has kind of I don't know what you call that. I mean, a Mad Max style. I have no idea. Sometimes you get these super modified, and I am noticing we're getting more modified stuff in the basic range compared to years past, which is actually kind of cool, considering we're getting some really cool realistic stuff in car culture. But let's keep on going, because I like the modified stuff too. I think it really works for basic. All right, that was in the B case. So was this one. I have a sense that several of you will probably vote for this model. This is the Ford Mustang GTD. First color in Metal Flake Gray, and then the second color, which I haven't opened yet, in I guess that's blue. Well, of course it's blue. I don't know if there's an actual name for it, but there it is. I'll give you a nice close-up on this one before we put it in the case, and then go ahead and put the silver one on the turntable. Cool model. One thing I did notice about this, and I wonder if it's something that Ford wanted, and I noticed on the upcoming Super Treasure Hunt as well, in regular edition for 2026, lots of details on this one. I mean, the headlights are done, the tail lights are done. There might be some other details. Well, I guess I noticed that more on the Super Treasure Hunt, but this one looks really good. I love when they do these very clean versions. Obviously, the Mustang GTD is essentially a supercar. Nice to have something like that. And I've even told you, I collect the Mustang castings in the basic range. I only collect the first editions, so those colors, because they're usually based on very realistic designs. Then, of course, you'll see it change like we do for what we've already seen in 2026. All right, next one, also from the B case. Also, I guess somewhat modified because it's lowered. This is the 66 Buick Riviera in a teal color with MC5s. We'll put that on the turntable in a second, but there is a recolor in here. Yeah, how about that one in black? Look at that art. That is just awesome. By the way, at the end of this, I will pick my top 3 too. So here it is in black, so you can get a sense of that one. This one is just clean. The teal's more interesting, but the black is probably the cooler one. You're getting details on the hood. Let's go ahead and put the teal one on the turntable. You're getting that cool, let's see, I mean, there's some side detailing with the door handle and the Riviera logo, and then there's a tampo down the middle to show like a chrome stripe down the, or a chrome detailing down the hood. This thing is super, super clean. I'm quite a big fan of this one. I don't know if we've represented my top 3 yet, but that Riviera is one that, as I have it open and I look at it, and especially that they match the interior to the colors on both of those, I think that's pretty cool. All right, this one was a very interesting new model, the Maserati Shamal. 2 colors on that one. I have already opened both, so we have it in red, which we'll put in the turntable in a second, and then the recolor in black. All right, we'll go ahead and get these on. Or get this one in the turntable. This one's kind of cool, and we're seeing this from the Hot Wheels design team more. The ability to take either the window or the interior pieces and create these brakes. So you get, I think, headlights and taillights are part of the window, and maybe that lower grille portion around the bumper, that would be part of the interior. And the bumper itself, I guess, just has like a gap in it. So what do they call them? I can't remember the word. Anyway, I used to remember. A brake of some sort. Anyway, but this one is cool. I mean, as far as Maseratis go, this one was a surprise to see, and one of those, like, it probably wouldn't play very well in premium, but it does play in basic, and I think it's a very, very cool model. All right, that one is licensed, and so is this one. And I thought about, do I put this one in or do I not? Because I've got 3 versions of Formula, what do they call this casting? I guess I'll just pull it out here. This thing was quite the buzzmaker. Formula 1 Collection. So I guess that would be the name of the casting. So that's what I'll call it. And especially now, you're definitely judging the casting, because this casting has been released in all kinds of decos, right? Of course, Leeway did this design. So you get Oracle, or he did not the casting, but the graphics. You get Oracle, Williams, we get... Let's see, we've got the Mercedes team. And then, of course, there was the 5-pack released with 5 other versions of this exact same casting. We're seeing it in premium where Rob Mathis is doing the designs, and he'll dive into some of the differences in the casting. But in this case, this is just a kind of represent all, F1 casting. Better put that back. And we'll just go ahead and put this Red Bull, since it was the first issue, on the turntable so you can see it. But yeah, in this case, you definitely are judging the casting itself. Are you happy that they made, and maybe you could call it unlicensed? I don't know. I think it's valid here, licensed. You might say this is such a cool introduction in the mainline, having an F1, a current design F1 car in the design. So that might be your vote. I think, nope, that's not all the licensed one. The other one we've got in this mix, this was the C mix, I believe, is the Cupra E Racer from the EV line. So first edition in this kind of almost color changing purple. I wouldn't say entirely color changing, and then recolored in matte gray. We'll put the purple one on the turntable. Modified Cupra, right? There's some elements here with the spoiler and I'd have to go and look at the real car, but with the spoiler and the like the front chin, the splitter and stuff, that this is modified, right? I think it's modified. Anyway, very nice model. And one of those that I think introduces many of us, including me, to a car that we aren't familiar with. All right, that is the Cooper E-Racer. We move to the D-Case assortment. We had one licensed model in that case, if you're not counting the Tesla Cyberquad, because we're not. So we go to the Gordon Murray Automotive T33. We had a Gordon Murray last year, and then we have this other version of another Gordon Murray design in silver. And then, yes, I think we have a recolor here that we've got to add to the pile. There it is, teal. We've got some other colors already coming out too, but teal was the recolor for 2025. Most of these, it's either a single plus one recolor, and then maybe a third if it's a store exclusive, and I think we've seen that twice this year, but not this one. Here's the teal version of that one. We'll go ahead and put that here and show the silver on the turntable. Cool car. Another one that we all get educated on. I saw some Gordon Murray cars race at Goodwood earlier this year, and they were quite impressive. This one, I think when you're looking at silhouette, I mean, it's a very nice replica of a very nice car. When you're looking at silhouette, I don't know if it pops the way some of the others do. You got to get these to pop for people to pull them off the pegs, and I think that's an issue that one actually has. That being said, it's still a very cool car, and maybe that is your vote for the best one. All right, so that's the D case already. We go to the E case. We had two, I think. Yeah, two new models and licensed new models. And I mean, these are heavily modified. Obviously, we're going to the Drift Ender, which is it says Drift Ender, but this is a Defender. It is a Land Cruiser. I think it does have the badging on it somewhere. They couldn't call it the Drift Ender. Anyway, it's a drift version of a Land Rover Defender. That would be a 90, right? I wouldn't call it a 110. So there's that color, and then I have a recolor here. There it is. Obviously, with as A case is out, we're already seeing the first issue in 2026. It's the Super Treasure Hunt as well, but we will stay focused on this one. You might like this casting. There is the recolor. I actually like the recolor better, I think, color-wise. But we will, once again, put this on the turntable so you can get all the details on the casting itself. Very interesting, very unique. You got to have a few of these, I think, in the main line. And this is one that so far is the most modified, like complete shift of purpose from a Defender known for its outdoor prowess, off-road prowess, to a drift car, truck, whatever it is. So that is the Drift Ender. That might be the one you like the most. And then you have the custom Kia EV6. There's the first version. We'll get to that on the turntable. I've got the second version somewhere. There it is. This one, not only, now I'm trying not to focus on design here, but this one launched not only in heavily modified styling, but also in a very unique design. Let's open it up. Obviously from the EV line that they did. And here it is. I'll show it up close in its recolor. Andres did this design, wanted to do this anime style for this. And yeah, this is not only a surprise to see the Kia get designed this way, be so customized, but also get a very unique first edition deco. Let's put the purple one on the turntable. Saw blade wheels on this one, purple. I think the deco is exactly the same, just some color changes with the anime styling that Andres did. It's a very unique piece and a very unique car. Heavily modified as well. I wouldn't say as modified as the Drift Ender, but definitely there in terms of a unique Hot Wheels piece, and one of those that it's like, I think if you're going to do a Kia in EV6, I think they did it in a very interesting way. All right, let's get to the Ford Model A. This is Craig's Ford Model A custom, actually replicated on Craig's actual car that he owns and races. Oh, there's that Malley logo that I saw on the RS200. That's got to be his logo. This is Malley London. We'll have to learn more about that. And maybe he did talk about it in the sneak peeks. But anyway, this one also has a new wheel on it that makes it look like it's actually racing. And there is a recolor we got to add to it in green. So we're going to add that one. I like this. I wouldn't call that British racing green by any means, but I do love the color combination with the black striping here. This is such a modified Ford Model A, basically done as a rust bucket that is raced and is an actual car owned by Craig Callum. And there it is. We'll check out the new model, or the new wheel, which looks like it is racing. So it's like it's in perpetual movement with the way the wheel was done. You could call it a two-spoke, and I guess that's probably what we do call it. But it is made to look like it's always moving. And I think that's a really, really cool design. Something definitely unique from the mainline, and really kind of represents the direction of the mainline as we've seen it this year. All right, that's the first half of at least my case, but we've still got a lot more to do. And maybe one of those will be in your top 3. So let's move this around and see where we are at. The other one from this case is a Ron Wong design, and right down his alley, and done, I think, as close to exact as can be in the basic. This is the McLaren W1. There is a recolor. Let's find it. There, no, that's the Ferrari. There it is, in the Q case, the McLaren W1 in gray. So we'll give this one a little bit of a close-up shot. There's that. Here it is in close-up in the kind of matte gray, which is very cool, very clean. And then we move that in, and we'll put the orange one, the first issue, on the turntable. It gives you a little bit of a better idea of the casting. Lots of brakes in the body. You've got some detailing on the top. McLaren badge on the front, and I don't see taillights on the back. So really it's all about the casting here. This is obviously for the supercar fans or the hypercar fans. That is a pretty cool model, and it really adds to the McLaren family of models in both premium and basic that have been done. That one is very cool. Is that it from that? No. I'm going to change the order here. No, because we'll go to the H case now. H case had a couple of doozies. Of course, we had Decidedly Go and the Cone Shaker, which were great Hot Wheels originals, but we also had the Viper and the BMW. So I'm going to move... I think I moved these around a little bit. So the Viper would go here. I'm going to put this down here for now. We'll figure it out. So the Viper and then the BMW. So I've got some recolors. Here's the Viper. 96 Dodge Viper GTS. Seems like this could have been done in 2008. Could have been done in 2001. What's the year on that one? Yeah, 96. I almost, when it first came out, I thought it was an existing casting, but we've seen the Viper get some new attention, which is kind of nice. We have a recolor, right? We have it in blue with the white stripe, and here it is in yellow with the black stripe. So let's add that one to the collection. There's your close-up on the Viper with the 5 spokes. Pretty classic. Really, really well done. Nice to see the current team taking on a casting like this, and obviously they did it as clean and as factory as possible. Here's the blue one on the turntable. Yeah, there's nothing modified about this. This is just a straight-up Viper, and this is how it should be. Super clean, super cool, very, very well done. And I think the soft spot, now that the Viper's, it's been over for quite a while. They haven't made a new one in a long time. But going back to those original Vipers, or those very, very first early Vipers, that seems to be the thing that's more fun. Last year they did that topless one, and then I can't remember which one that was, GTS or something like that. And then this one now I think is really good. Because there was that, and then there was the fabulous BMW. This is the BMW 635 CSI. There is a recolor here that we've got to do. Brian did this design. Andres did the deco, inspired by my first name and player. All right, and then you can see the colors that this one is inspired by too. We'd never see the logo on a Hot Wheels, but a signature orange on the BMW, which makes a ton of sense. So just giving that, I want to give that some detail on this casting. This one's modified, right? Goes wide body. I will show you before we put it on the turntable. You've got all these brakes too that Brian did. I guess we could do that with the original. So I'll put this here. This is the 733, but you're looking at that classic BMW silhouette, and this, we'll talk about that in the 2026. But nice to see these classic silhouettes getting represented. All right, this one's on the turntable. Love the wheels, love the deco, but ultimately, looking at the casting here, Brian has put, probably as part of the window, you see the headlights, you see the chrome that were part of the interior. He did a chrome interior so you could get that chrome line wrapping around the front and the back, and then you get the brakes and the taillight. That's how to do a basic model, in my opinion. And when you can't always, like the Viper, you can't do it, but on a BMW like this, you can do these brakes, and then it allows you to put tampos everywhere else, and you still get the brakes on the headlights and everything else. That is a casting you might see at the end of this video from me. All right, let's keep on going. Those are the two BMWs. That was the H mix. So we have to move on to the J mix. And this is when the Ferrari era starts. So still moving this one. Well, yeah, that's next. Sometime around here, Hot Wheels announced the Ferraris were coming, and then they started dropping. So this is where the main line had almost a shift, and this is everyone was running to the pegs, still looking for their supers, still looking for their treasure hunts, but also looking for the Ferraris. I think you can all say, I noticed it too. The Ferraris were not on the pegs, if ever. I did find them a couple times. I did see them, but not very often if you weren't the first one there. Here is the first Ferrari. It is the Ferrari SF90 Stradale in red. We'll get that on the turntable, but there is a recolor I definitely need to open. And there it is, the in gray. There was also, this is a unique one in that it was a new model, and it also made it to a 5-pack, the Motor Show 5-pack, which I don't have. I could include it here, but I'm not gonna because it was part of a 5-pack. We'll just, and we're not really worrying about colors anyway. You just know the casting. It's also already been released in 2026 in the ERC case in blue. We're obviously going to see all the Ferraris and plus a couple new castings in basic in 2026. But let's put the red Stradale on the turntable. This one, really, really nice in that, like I go back to the 458, like the kind of like just almost like the mainstream Ferrari, like the signature Ferrari that you would see on the road most likely. This one is that. Going back, like when you go back to 2012, 2013, they're doing the 458 and the 458 and the 612. We're going to see the equivalents to like the 612 and stuff coming up, but and then we see some classic Ferraris after this. But yeah, that's the most modern Ferrari, and it was the first one released in two colors. And then the other one, the peg warming, unfortunately, Renault Espace F1 that I've gotten grief for because I thought it was an EV. I didn't get it right, and I deserve the grief that I got. But there is the first version in yellow with black trim, and then we had it reversed in black with yellow trim as the recolor. Yeah, I don't know what it was. This is an education for at least those of us in the United States. Super unique car, and apparently incredibly fast. And many of my friends in Europe have said, come on, John, learn about this car. It's really cool. So there's the recolor. We'll go ahead and put the original on the turntable. Yeah, super unique. Side mirrors are there. You got the plastic trim wrapping up from the, well, you get the I guess that's part of the interior, would be that plastic trim around the wheel, so that gives you that brake. So this one ends up being a very unique model with all of that detailing on the sides and on the front. Well executed model with all those brakes that the design team is so good at. Not a well-known model, obviously, in the United States, so that might go against it a little bit, but I think some of our friends in Europe might be all for that model, maybe vote it as the best. All right, let's move to the K case. This one was a big one. I think that the L case was the best, but the K case got a lot of folks excited. There were 3 licensed models in this one, and they were doozies. All right, let's start with the Lil Roar, which goes right here. This one, I think, has to go down here. Oops. That's what happens when you bump these. All right, where is the Lil Roar? Same thing with like the Drift Ender. It has its own name, but I think it's so modified it gets its own name. Sorry, move that up here. But this is a Mini, and a licensed Mini for sure. I think it says, yeah, it says Lil Roar on it, but when it gets the Mini badging here, then it definitely is a Mini. So we're going to add it as a licensed model. Of course it is. And we see this happen on the turntable. It goes obviously modified rally style, off-road style. I wonder if it's so modified that Mini asks for its own name. But it is very cool. This is the first time I've seen this on card 1,000 times, and I just haven't looked. Cool detailing on the windshield to show that it's already a little dirty, and it looks like it's already been like wiped a few times. I didn't even notice that until I pulled this out. You're getting brakes in the lighting, the bumpers, the trim. Obviously the interior wraps into the back and you get the spare tire look. This is cool. And now that I have it in hand, this is a better casting than I hadn't given it much play, but I think that is a really neat model and one that execution-wise is up there. All right. I'll keep going. I'll keep going. Let's go to the Alfa Romeo. Love this one. Here it is in red, small. These are race cars through and through, classic race cars. Alfa Romeo TI Super. There it is in red, and I have a recolor somewhere. There it is. In white, also very cool. Very much Alfa colors on this one too. So there it is in white with the number 63 detailing the back, Momo Deco. Awesome wheels, awesome trim. You're getting that same vibe. I think Fraser did this one. You're getting taillights on this one. You're getting an exhaust. I'll put it on the turntable. But look at that front grille, all done in chrome with the green bumper. So rad. Such a great addition to the line. And here it is in red. We'll put that one in signature red on the turntable. And look how cool this one is. People might be bothered by the chrome interior, but in my view, and this is something we've seen before, if you get a chrome interior, it means you're going to get chrome trim on the front. You won't get them. You get the exhaust on the back, so that's a nice piece. I don't mind it because of that, because the model itself just takes on such a cool look with those brakes in the front and back, especially in basic. I might have a little bit more of an issue in premium, but in this case, it really, really works. I love this model. Love this model. And, well, we might be talking about it more. Let's get on to the star of this K-case, which is the Ferrari F40, the next Ferrari as the Ferrari era begins. Again, this is the Competizione. Obviously a little bit more of a racing version, right? So you get the split in the spoiler. You get a different look on the headlights and some of these other details. I will put that back because I have a recolor. There it is. A recolor to open, which is the in yellow. So let's go ahead and add that one to the pile here. A lot of people have seen it. Oops, right here. I mean, a lot of us have moved on in 2026 because we know this is the super treasure hunt in 2026, but we still got to get through these colors. So this one, yellow with the grayed out 5-spoke wheels. Ferrari badging on the front, Ferrari badging on the side. Nothing on the back, but we got those brakes once again, as the Hot Wheels team likes to do. Let's get the red one on the turntable with the chrome 5 spokes. Black interior, detailing in the windows, nicely done. Some detailing in the engine. You don't get a metal brake like we've seen in some older cars. A huge improvement, as I've shown in other videos, on the on previous F40s that Hot Wheels has done. Yet, as I said in that Ferrari video, at least for me personally, leaves a little to be desired. Of the 3 basic castings, new Ferraris, I love the F40, but there's still something about this one that, I don't know, it's not sitting with me. Anyway, I've expressed that opinion. I don't need to do it again, but you're not going to see that one in the top 3. All right, that was the K case. Let's move on to L. So we had the 3rd Ferrari come in. We also had the Quick Chat, another Brian model that people loved. So 3rd Ferrari and the Lotus Cortina. Let's talk about the Ferrari. So I'm still moving this around. I don't know why I just ended up where it did. I think we go that way. So here we go with the Ferrari 365 GTB4 Competizione as well. Racing classic Ferrari. So we go current Ferrari, then we went to more like middle vintage, I don't know what to call it vintage, but classic with the F40. Then you go super classic with the 365. Where's that recolor? I didn't have it in my pile here. There it is. There it is, the recolor in yellow, right? I didn't have it here for some reason. Let's go ahead and open that one up. Same deco, and with the number 64 in yellow. Brakes still show up. It's really, really cool. So let's put that one in the case. Let's get the red one on the turntable just to show. We've all seen this one up close with the gold rims. But again, there's those brakes again with the headlights in the front, the black bumper, the red chin. Nothing moves into the back, but you're getting everything here that you want in a car like this. A really cool update on the 365 castings that we've had in the past. And was it Mathis who did this one? Yeah, Rob Mathis did this one. It's fabulous for basic. And in terms of these classic race cars, you're obviously going to group it with the F40 and the SF90. Might be better grouped, even though they're not the same racing class. Might be better grouped with the Alfa Romeo, and then of course this one, the Lotus Cortina. Same, very similar silhouette to the Alfa Romeo, another classic, small, little fast racing car, British racing car. Andres did the deco. Fraser, I think, did the logo or the casting here, and fabulous, just fabulous casting. You get the brake here once again on the back bumper. You get the brake on the front grille. You get the vintage racing, and then that nice stripe down the side that really gives this car such a cool, classic, simple racing look. I'm a huge fan of that one, and that one was also in the L case. L case was the best case of the year, I think, kind of hands down. Moving on to the M case, we had a Bat boat, we had a motorcycle, the Honda motorcycle, and then we had the Peugeot hypercar. So that one that I keep moving around, there it is. Only one version. We had several hypercars. We've had the Cadillac hypercar, Porsche in Elite, and then the Ferrari, of course, the 499P in RLC and Premium. We'll see those later, but this was the hypercar this year. Peugeot with a very cool racing, you know, more like a, I guess this would be more of like just a branding deco on it, not a racing deco. I would imagine we'll see this with a with a racing deco at some point. Very, very nice, big casting, nice brake with the front piece. I don't know. I assume that's part of the interior. This may not have an interior. Maybe it just has that. Oh no, it has an interior. I'm looking at it. The interior's there. I would imagine this like spoiler piece, this like middle spoiler piece in the middle is part of the interior, but it's a really another well done casting. Very cool hypercar casting that I think people will dig. All right, we got to keep on going. Now we're to the end case. We're getting towards the end. We had two new castings. The Feline Lucky debuted here. Everyone loves that one. I do too, but it's not licensed, so it doesn't go in. But the Jag and the Porsche did come in. So where's the Jag? There it is. Jaguar XJC V12 Coupe. I haven't opened this one. We've done sneak peeks of this one. I did open the recolor, which is a Zamac, because I already did the store exclusives. So that one goes right there. And then here is the normal one. So I'm looking at it, normal, regular, whatever you want to call it. This is another Fraser design, a classic British car done as a classic race car. You get the 4-spoke wheels on this one, which looks really, really nice. You get a racing livery. You get the modifications in the back. You get the wide body on the sides. You get, looks like a bumper delete on at least the front, so it gives it that kind of cool racing look. You get some brakes in the windows, which is very cool. Just a nice, different take. Matchbox did this model, right, in more of a factory, so put those together if you'd like, and then have this racing version, which, again, you're seeing just some really cool stuff out of the basic range. Wheels changed for the Zamac, but the deco stays the same. Modal's in there. Motul, I should say that right. So that one is very cool. And then, of course, this one didn't get a recolor. Towards the end, you don't see recolors as much. This is the Porsche 911 Turbo Cabriolet. But why do we need a recolor when we've got this unique color combination on the Turbo Cabriolet? Maroon. I love this. I mean, I know we're talking about casting, we're not talking about deco, but Anton did this, and the wheels plus the color, which has a little bit of pink metal flake in it, and then the pink interior, this will never look better. It'll be done in all kinds of cool ways, and I'll love it. I don't see myself moving away from this casting as a full-on collection in my collection. But so this is I'm commenting on the deco here, but Anton did an amazing job, and the casting's beautiful. Casting's classic. It really does throw back to a different era of Porsche. You don't see it you don't see Porsches. Obviously, it's an older Porsche, but the vibe of this Porsche is very classic, and the casting itself. And I absolutely love it. I'm looking forward to putting this one, of all things, with the Matchbox slant nose that's coming here very soon too, next year. But kind of comes from the same era. Love that casting. That'll be up there for me. All right, where are we at? 83 Porsche 928S. This is in the P case. So Porsche to Porsche. Pretty factory, right? The convertible. Maybe Porsche fans will say there's something modified about it. I don't know. But this one is the same. We did have the off-road Porsche 928, the rally style, a couple years ago. It's been a regular treasure hunt. Then we even had one done. No, that was the 944. I'm sorry for that, whatever that promotion was. But here we get a pretty straightforward 928, which is welcome to see. We don't see 928s as often anymore. This one gets the cool headlights we don't see this era of Porsche getting represented, or at least this type of era. But you get some brakes here in the casting. I don't know exactly who did this casting, but between the sunroof, the brakes in the taillights, the brakes in the headlights, the embossed Porsche in the back, I really like the use of the wheels here, and then the Porsche detailing on the sides, tan interior. This one fits its era as well. I think this is a really, really nice casting too. One that I know a lot of people are going to really dig. I think that one is unique, and I think that leaves us with one. All right, I'm going to tell you, I am going to say this is not licensed. I've considered it. Polestar did it. There was a competition, but this is not based on a real car. So I'm not going to include this one. If you were really adamant about voting for the Polestar TRX, while it's a very cool style or a very cool story as a competition and a very cool Hot Wheels, I'm not going to include it, even though I love it and I just love the design of this one. So we're going to keep this one out, but we are going to add the McMurtry Speirling, because this is based on a real car, a very unique car, and another one, a deep dive, educate you type of car. If you've seen videos on it, hopefully you have. This thing is quite insane. Look at the cool brakes on this one. Put it on the turntable. Brand design, I think. McMurtry. And I think we're already getting a recolor on this one here very soon too. But this one is so cool because it's so tiny. It's a one-seater car, very unique, and you know, really made as a show car. And well, you know what I mean, show-off car. I don't know. What do you want to call it? Unique car, not a daily driver by any means, but something that is perfect as a Hot Wheels, and it goes in the slot. I might have put that Polestar in here if it made me finish this case, but you know, you get like that. I do. There you go. All right. You can go down and vote for your top three. Do you want to know my top three? Let me tell you the cars that I would consider for my top three. Ooh, almost lost them. If I'm going here, honestly, from the first half, I really love the concept of the F1s. I like how it's done as a basic Hot Wheels, as a simple Hot Wheels. I actually prefer the basic over the premium just because of the it's just, they're F1 cars that kids can play with. Love Craig's car. Love some of the designs here, but there's no car, and the Buick is probably my favorite of the realistic stuff, but there's no car on this first half. The GTD is cool too, that I would even consider for my top five. So we're going to, and I did wonder, where are we going with 2025? Then it got kind of wildly cool. So let me tell you the cars I'm going to consider for my top three. And I'm going to move this down here so we can at least create a little parking lot. I'm only going to take one, but the BMW's in there. I really like the SF90, but I don't know. You saw me praising the Alfa Romeo. And if I'm praising the Alfa Romeo, I can't leave the Lotus Cortina out of there too. So we're going to put both of those in there as a possible top three. Ferrari-wise, I love all of these. The SF90, I really dig. The F40, I've expressed my opinion on it. The 365 is probably, I don't know, the most interesting of them, but none of them really just catch for me. I was much more excited about the LaFerrari, the F50, the 499P really surprised me how cool it was. Of course, the Team Transport. So I'm going to say that the Ferraris didn't take it for me. I don't know if that's going to be the same with readers, but it didn't really take it for me. The other ones, I really like the concept here. The Mini really surprised me, but I'm not going to go with that. The Viper is cool too, but I think this is my top four. And if I'm going to do a top five, I think this is how I'm going to go. The Jag just out, Porsche taking its spot. So what are my top three? Well, I can be really annoying, and I'm not going, but okay, we'll figure it out here. There's a tie for first. There's my winner. Tie for first. I'm going to go, if I'm going to go number one, I'm going Cortina. Let's do that. No ties. That's cheating. There's your number one. I'll put it this way. Number one. There's your number two. There's your number three. In fact, we'll go right in that order. I could say this is a tie for first. There's your second. There's your third. But no, that's how it goes. There's your order right there. I think I'm going Cortina number one, Alfa Romeo number two. And like I said, I could do this ranking in 10 minutes and it would be different. But I have been feeling throughout the year that for me personally, these are my favorites. The best, I mean, the F40's gotten the most attention. So, and I think it's significant. The Ferraris, I think in terms of significance, I think if I'm really kind of judging the hobby itself, you kind of have to put, you would have to put this as number one. I think if I'm just looking at it in terms of impact, but we're going with those that I think are the best. And I think in terms of execution, I'm going Lotus, Alfa. I love this BMW, and I'd be very tempted to put it up there. Porsche, Jag just behind. Maybe the Buick sneaking in there after that, but there you go. All right, get down there and vote. We need votes. Give me your comments. I want to know what your top three are. I want to know why you decided on what you did for sure. I want you to know how much you agree or disagree with me. And then, but more than anything, you got to vote. That's where your voice is going to be counted. And yeah, Mattel will be looking. They'll be watching to see what you vote on. It'll be very interesting. Thanks, everybody. Premium's next. Bye.